the stage is yours.
My name is Anton. I'm a strategist, and I used to think that complexity equals value. Let me maybe start with a very personal story. At the very beginning of my career, the company I worked for acquired another firm, and we're joined by a new team. So my background is marketing science, finance, analytics, and the newcomers, they were specializing in qualitative insights. And I was very sort of underestimating what they bring to the table, and perhaps quite a lot overestimating what I do. And we're expecting a visit from a VP of a friendly company, our client, and I've been asked to show a presentation using our internal data. And I spent very late hours to build a comprehensive 35-slide deck with all bells and whistles, all sorts of factor regressions, you name it. And well, on slide number 5, I've been interrupted. Anton, that's such a great stuff, thank you. But what should we do differently tomorrow, right? And that was a sort of a pivoting moment where I thought, well, I should really think differently about the perspective. What we bring to the table. And I wanted to talk to you about, what stakeholders actually need from us and what we can help them with. And really, that was a shift in perspective. I realized that stakeholders really pay us for the outcomes. And there are these 3 things that are really critical. It's clarity, it's conviction, and it's direction. And when it comes to clarity, clarity that cuts through this complexity. Conviction is about the right path forward. And finally, direction that really brings us to the action. And all these 3 things are underpinned by the most important thing that we can create with stakeholders, is trust. So Kim Scott, in her book Radical Candor, created this interesting equation of trust that I thought would be nice to share with you. So trust equals credibility, reliability, and intimacy. And all of this is divided by self-orientation. So the buzzwords, ironically, really kill trust by driving up self-orientation and really declining intimacy. Well, the antidote really to the buzzwords and complex terms is deep understanding of what stakeholders want from us. And this year I've attended numerous conferences in AI and marketing and analytics, and I see a very clear emerging pattern. What I hear from central stage, from CMOs and CEOs, dramatically differs from what I hear on the ground from real practitioners, from people who actually do the business, or newcomers or startups. And we're at a huge risk, I believe, to really lose common ground. And I don't blame either party. The things are moving so quickly at literally light speed. So it's almost impossible to keep up. The only way we can all come together and find this common ground again is through this deep understanding and the thriving through simplicity. So this is a quote either by Einstein or Sean Carroll. It doesn't matter, but it really rings the truth. Unless you can't explain something simply, you don't really understand it. So let me bring this to life with a case study, with an example. I used to work for Kantar. I was a consulting director of analytics. And among many other things, I was responsible for this type of projects. So the case study is about driving trust for a large multinational financial service group. So they came to us with a very simple question. How do we improve market share? How do we differentiate in the market through driving trust? What levers should we be pulling to really improve our market share? So we're using this brain path methodology that enables, literally looks inside consumer mind and understand how different elements of their perceptions interact and build these models and simulate them, and most importantly, create answers. What should the clients do next? And the impact was very powerful, right? We empowered them with a very clear roadmap what to do next, and that's critical. We set realistic targets and KPIs so they can monitor the progress, and in due time they reached a significant market share uplift of 1.5%, which doesn't seem like much, but for a leading financial giant, it's humongous. So a little bit more about this methodology, because I think there's something more we could do with it. So if you think about how consumers make decisions, it all really happens through building different perceptions, and these perceptions interrelate with each other and interact with each other. And interestingly, that if you change one perception, it has a cascade of effects across all other perceptions. And traditional statistical models don't really take this into account. But by understanding the whole network of these different perceptions, and well, let's say if I think about a company that is more innovative, right, I instantly start to trust it more, I instantly start to think that they're setting trends, etc., etc. So there's different impact on all different perceptions. So we can build these models, understand the strengths of these relationships, and then run different scenarios, understand how and where marketing can intervene in the most effective way. Well, the journey to value creation consists of 3 steps. So we start with modeling, we then generate insights, and ultimately, many of us know this is just truths that are not visible on the surface level. Answering the question, so what? And most importantly, formulating recommendations. Now what? What do we do? So the time distribution, particularly now, it's powered with the 2.0 version that I've created, is powered by strong reasoning models. There's a great saving in time and adding a lot of value. But the actual value realized for the clients only sits within this, within formulating recommendations. The model, and arguably requires a lot of expert knowledge and effort, only generates 1%, if not less, of value for clients. It's like giving them a blueprint of an engine where they ordered a cab and need to get to the office. It's pointless by itself, but the true value created through insights and through recommendations. Now, should we talk about AI? Well, of course we should, when it's needed, when we're asked, and we're all industry professionals that cooperate with AI one way or another. So yes, of course we should. But then the big question is, how should we talk about AI? And there is an interesting debate going on, and a battle of narratives. You might have seen the performance of WPP and Public Group. These are huge conglomerates owning a majority of advertising market. And their approach to AI and integrating AI is very different. And I wish we could have the whole day to talk about this in more details, but I'll keep it short. So Mark Reed was really, his point of view was about savings and efficiency. And with this approach, he really scared some internal and external stakeholders. And look what it's doing to market share. Since they've started their AI journey, the market share has been driving down. In contrast, the narrative of value creation that's coming from Arthur, he's talking about augmenting, empowering his talent. That's something that adds value. And they've managed to not only win a lot of market share from WPP, but also it's reflected on their share price. It's important to know that technology and information create a huge synergy that generate value. But only with a human in the center, we can really experience that value that's being generated. Let me leave you with this. We can add this value, we can create this value, if we start moving from jargon to clarity, from outputs to outcomes, from model-centric to stakeholder-centric, and from saving to value creation, as you saw in the last slide. And maybe let me leave you with one inspirational story from It's a Zen story about a wise man and a trickster. So trickster was very jealous of a wise man, and he wanted to prove to everyone that a wise man is not as wise as he seems. So his plan was very simple. He thought, I'll catch a butterfly, and I'll go to a wise man and ask whether the butterfly is alive or dead. If he says the butterfly is alive, I'll just kill it. And if he says the butterfly is dead, well, I'll let it free, and everybody will see how foolish the wise man is, in fact. The wise man's answer was, everything is in your hands. So indeed, everything is in our hands to shape the future of AI and how we talk about it and creating that value. Thank you.